In this video, I'm going to show you how I survive starting in the dead of winter, steps you can take to survive winter, and how to set yourself up with little preparation to conquer the DEERCLOPS. I started in the middle of winter with one goal, to defeat DEERCLOPS, but first I had to overcome an even deadlier threat, freezing to death. Normally, winter doesn't start until day 21. That's 21 days to gather necessary supplies to keep yourself warm and fed to make it through winter. Since I'm starting in winter with no time to prepare for it, freezing starts now. The frigid temperatures make exploring without winter gear pretty awful. Once your temperature hits zero, you start losing health rapidly. Add that on top of getting hit by a monster, and that equals a recipe for disaster. Resources don't regrow in winter, so everything is in limited supply. You pick it once and that's it. Starting with nothing means I'll have to find the limited supplies to keep myself warm, fed, and combat ready for DEERCLOPS. For this challenge, we're picking Wilson since he's the original character. He does get some insulation from his beard based on length, but since the challenge is so short, it won't give us much of a benefit. The way the game normally works is DEERCLOPS spawns on the night of the 30th, which means since I started in winter instead of autumn, I will have roughly 10 days to survive and prepare for the showdown. During that time, I'm going to try and collect the necessary resources to craft the 4 essential items I'm going to need to finish this challenge. And just a heads up, I am using a few mods, but only a couple quality of life mods that won't affect the difficulty of this challenge. Now, you might ask, why am I even doing this? What's the point? I, just like many of you, once struggled with DEERCLOPS. I remember playing for hours getting to the end of winter just for DEERCLOPS to show up and make me fear for my life. I didn't want the hours spent setting up everything to be wasted and have to start over because some pesky one-eyed reindeer freak decided to come trample down everything I built. So it's finally time to show everyone that you don't need lots of preparation, you don't need fancy strategies, you don't need to be fearful. DEERCLOPS is meant to be slain. It's finally time to get the closure we all need. So while there are multiple methods for dealing with DEERCLOPS, we are going to go for the tried and true kiting method. It's the most simplistic method, and if you're prepared, it's reliable enough to work consistently. I'll run up and hit DEERCLOPS 2 to 3 times, and then run back to dodge its attack. Rinse and repeat until victory. The challenge with this method is the sanity drain and having to dodge or fight shadow creatures while fighting DEERCLOPS. Alright, so now that we've got that out of the way, we begin our challenge to beat winter's cruel grasp and take DEERCLOPS' head. The beginning is rough. Nearly as soon as I'm spawned, I start freezing to death. I have to move quickly and find the basic materials to make at least a torch. I'm going to be continuously lighting things on fire in the early game to stay warm as I move around and gather basic supplies. To get the first piece of essential gear, I needed to capture 2 rabbits. A trap consists of 6 grass and 2 twigs. We only need 1 trap that we can reuse to get both rabbits. So I need to gather the grass and twigs, but I also need to find a rabbit spawn. Since we are thrown into the middle of winter, we have less time than normal to catch rabbits since days are so short. And one problem. Rabbits run back into their holes come dusk and don't come back out until morning. So we find our first rabbit and manage to catch him easily. Nice. The second rabbit proved to be a little bit more tricky. They were being a little stubborn and decided they didn't even want to get stuck in my traps. It was a little bit frustrating, it took a little while, but we finally managed to get one, which completes our first piece of gear. Rabbit earmuffs. Now we finally have some warmth so we can explore longer without freezing. Essential item number 2 is going to require us to craft an alchemy engine, which requires a decent bit of resources. To make an alchemy engine, we'll need to get a lot of logs, rocks, and some gold. Cool. Now we got enough supplies to make our alchemy engine as well as our permanent campfire, and thanks to the charcoal I got earlier, a crockpot for our tiny base. While mining, we were lucky enough to find a majestic tall bird fighting some clockworks and picked up some gears to make an icebox. Finally, we have essential item number 2, the thermal stone. A staple for any winter adventure, this rock warms up by the fire and keeps you nice and toasty while exploring. While trying to improve my winter gear even more, I decided to try and go on a koalefant hunt. While following the tracks, it became nighttime and I started getting attacked by bats while trying to uncover some of the last tracks. Unfortunately, I lost a good bit of health and left without finishing the hunt. It's day 8, and just to make sure I have enough resources set aside, I pre-crafted multiples of essential items number 3 and number 4, spears and log suits. I wanted a ham bat, but at this point I hadn't found any pigs to get a pig skin, so spears will have to do. While exploring, I found some spiders, so I figured I could try to go get some silk and spider glands. Silk to make a winter hat if I found some beefalo, and spider glands to make healing salve for the battle with DEERCLOPS. Unfortunately, in my first attempt, I ended up just getting mostly monster meat and losing the majority of my health to a couple cheap shots from some spider warriors. Hey, some beefalo! and a pig village. Now, I had a plan to get revenge on those horrible spiders. As soon as the sun rose, I fed a bunch of pigs monster meat and now had a small army at my command. I marched my army back to the forest and commanded my army to attack. We left victorious with plenty of silk and spider glands. I was now able to shave the beefalo, make a winter hat, and had plenty of resources to make healing salve. We're nearing the final battle. It's dusk of day 10 and I almost forgot about the sanity drain from DEERCLOPS. I'm frantically running around looking for green mushrooms to help restore my sanity during the fight. I found one, literally one measly mushroom. This will have to do. It's time. It's night 10, and I'm patiently waiting in my base to hear the growl of the DEERCLOPS. Any second now. Okay, maybe it's the next night? Anyway, that gives me a little more time for preparation. It's night 11, a full moon night. How perfect would it be to fight DEERCLOPS under the full moon? I am ready. I have 4 spears and 3 log suits at the ready, plenty of healing food, and a few mushrooms to restore my sanity, and a nice cozy winter hat to keep me warm. Any moment now. No DEERCLOPS again. Bruh! As day breaks, I wonder where the clops could be. I came to the realization that starting in winter means that maybe there are 20 days of winter instead of the usual 15? Maybe we have a couple more nights before DEERCLOPS spawns. I'm still determined to wait and kill the clops. So normally DEERCLOPS respawns from dying after 16.8 winter days of in-game time, so hopefully night 17 is the night. This opportunity at least gives me even more time to prepare. Now don't think I forgot about my original plan to get a ham bat. I had to turn on my faithful army I had created earlier and slaughter them one by one to get my precious weapon of choice. Unfortunately, after slaughtering the helpless pigs, I did not receive the needed pig skin for my ham bat, so spears it is. I sat around the campfire, night after night. I started thinking, what if DEERCLOPS never shows up? What would that mean for me? Day after day I waited, patiently, eagerly, for my moment of glory, and I began to wonder what all this was even for. If I couldn't kill the DEERCLOPS, what was the point? If I couldn't do the one thing I set out to do, does any of this even matter? My life was meant for this moment. My entire goal was built around this one task, and to not even fail miserably against clops in a blaze of glory, everything felt pointless. So there was only one thing to do. I wouldn't get the closure I needed, I would get the closure I deserved. Oh, well, close enough. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you leave it a like as it helps me out a ton. And if you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. We'll see you next time. Peace.